You ready to go, or are
I'm
you
ready.
okay? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the regular monthly meeting of the Morton County Park Board for June 2025. So first thing we will deal with today is the agenda. Is there any additions or changes to the agenda for the meeting today?
Yeah, under, just one thing to add, wood chips and the idea of a grill up at Valerie Ensel Park.
Hey, did you want to slot that in before park updates then?
Yeah, before retirement. If you would, please.
Yeah, but I want you to have to deal with it.
Well, then put it in afterwards.
Okay, any other changes to the agenda for the meeting? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve with that change.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next item is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any corrections that need to be made to the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll move to approve the minutes from the April 22nd, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the April 22nd, 2025 meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, finally, the monthly bills and payroll.
Yeah.
Guess Mr. Boehm has those.
Commissioner Morrell is unable to be here this afternoon, so I did the bills. We did talk to Tim about one extremely large one. That was a little bit surprising, but other than that, everything looks good. I move to approve the bills as presented. Bills and payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the monthly bills and payroll. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same
Roll call.
sign. Motion carries. Okay, first item on our regular agenda for today's meeting is the contract for Tadpole kayaks. Cody?
Yeah, this is just basically not a rewrite, but a copy and pasted contract from
Paddle on.
Paddle on, sorry. But, our Paddle on got bought out by Tadpole, and so Tim worked out this contract.
Just for the board's reference, this contract was originally done, I don't know, Tim, how many years ago between the water board and Paddle On?
I'd say
7, 8 years. So, and to my knowledge, there's never been any requested changes on either party for the contract. So with Tadpole, we just decided to go ahead and roll with it, and the contract does expire yearly, so if for some reason either party does want changes, there is the chance, you know, every year to amend, but otherwise it's unchanged from historically what we've had.
Did you guys all get a copy of the contract?
Yeah.
And they met all the requirements for liability insurance, so.
I'll make a motion to enter into the contract with Tadpole Kayak.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to enter into the contract for kayak rentals at Harmon Lake with Tadpole Kayaks. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I will get a copy out to Dave and Donato.
Okay, any other questions for Cody or Tim on the Tadpole Kayaks operation? Okay, moving on then, number 2, the shop policy. Cody?
I guess I've read through this shop policy, I don't see any problem with it, other than maybe, personal use of shops, and we have, Alex out at the park shop, and the buddy system part of it, I don't know, there's gonna be times, sort of, most of the time, he's gonna be alone in there. Other than that, I don't see a problem with the.
So the highlighted areas are what was changed from the previous contract?
I believe so.
And for your guys' information, the highway department has already approved this policy, so it's just a formality, so to speak, that we approve it. Kind of the old saying, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
You took the buddy system part of it out? Is that what you're saying? Or it
No,
says
no.
it's still in there? That's,
Yeah.
okay, I'm following you now, Cody, sorry.
Basically, that's gonna be the only part that's gonna be an issue.
Because Alex is alone.
Yeah.
So Alex is gonna have to call up one of the guys that works with us and, hey, help me out, maybe whatever.
To be totally kosher with the policy.
It's not a bad thing too, if somebody gets hurt while they're working there and nobody's
Then we
around.
have a policy in place.
Right, you know, using a saw and cuts his fingers off, there's somebody there to help him. So, I don't see a problem.
Is that a motion? Commissioners' thoughts?
I gotta approve it at the next meeting.
I just have a question. Is the buddy system, and I hadn't read this before, so maybe I'm missing it, but is the buddy system defined somewhere? Like, or is that just like an info? Well, I'm just saying, like, for policy, we're saying you have to abide by the buddy system. Is that just sort of an understood?
You gotta just have another person out there, you can't be by yourself.
Sure.
And this is during work, non-working hours. So the buddy system isn't in place while you're on the clock. This is when you're using the shops for personal use only.
Right.
So Alex could still be alone out in that shop during doing anything for the parks.
I guess I'm just thinking enforceability. We're saying they have to use the buddy system, but we don't exactly say what that is.
I see.
Understood.
Yeah,
There you go.
Can't
It
be
says
your
another
dog.
Morton County employee must be
Yeah.
physically present in the shop.
That would be your buddy system.
Yeah, well, so
But
that was,
I understand what it is.
I was kind of looking at that as the definition. Another Morton County employee must be physically present in the shop.
Right, but we don't define that as
Yeah.
being the buddy system, right?
No, you don't. It's inferred.
Right. Yeah, and I'm fine with it. I'm just liability wise. Yes.
I'll move to approve that shop policy.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the shop policy. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Okay, any other questions about the shop policy for Cody? Okay, we'll move on to the next fun one, budget. Right into the fire, huh, Cody?
Yeah.
Only got half of it.
So Tim and I went through this next year's budget, and Tim wrote up a nice kind of cheat sheet for you on what last year's budget did, and kind of some explanations on certain lines why they're
Code-
going up.
Cody, sorry. So ours printed out like this. So we only got, we don't have any of 26 on there. It printed this direction.
Let me see.
I'll
Nope.
make some copies.
Nope, it came,
That page got cut off.
we don't have 26 on there is all I'm getting
Yeah,
at. So
you're gonna need that.
these guys want to know what the changes are.
Yeah.
2026's budget looks really good.
Yeah. Zero. Don, we're saving some money. Didn't want you to get too far in and then you're like, start over.
If you guys want to look through the 2026 budget explanation, just kind of read through that while he is getting some copies, and we can discuss any changes.
At least there's a comparison between 5 and 6 on this page.
Yeah.
Under memberships and registrations, these different conferences, at least for my first year, I'd like to attend really as much as I can take in involving Parks and Rec. Like, Tim probably kind of nitpicked on certain ones, like that this one is kind of useless to go to, but he's probably been to them for 30 years in a row, and there might be some good aspects about some of these conferences.
So if you're traveling to all those, we have a travel expense of 300. It seems a little light if you're staying overnight.
Unless they're in Bismarck.
Yeah, 300 was
Last year's
last year's.
to 26, and I need to be more than that.
Yeah, you're right on the money there, Nathan.
Yeah, that one, and then the one above it, the memberships didn't add in the, oh, 450, 960, should be 1960 on the other side there, instead of 1,000. you know, you can,
So with Tim retiring, does that mean our fleet's getting younger?
the whole works is getting younger.
Should wait till he got back.
Isn't, you know, they put 1,000, but he should add up to 1,000. So it's really 960 instead of 1960.
You're fast.
Oh, this way he's going, okay,
Just ran.
$40.
and that's fine. I see where Cody, Ken just
Well,
pointed out
actually
how
asked
that
for another
memberships works. The
clarification,
total
Tim.
is 1,000. I get it, I missed that.
So do we, since you're retiring and our fleet is getting younger, do we still need to raise it by 4,000?
That was a low one. Oh, boy.
Thank you, Tim.
My bad, guys. I don't know what happened to must.
Turned it.
Not went into landscape or whatever. Wasn't looking to hide anything. And that's on me, not Cody. Ken, you had a question? I just got the end of it. Did you get it figured out?
Yeah, we just,
Yeah, I misunderstood something. He straightened me out.
Oh, okay.
I got a question just out of curiosity, Tim. Under utilities, 23, 24, we're pushing around $50,000, and then 25, it was 10,000? What's the reason why it dropped so much? I'm just curious.
That's only to date.
Mm-hmm.
When this
Oh,
was
okay.
printed out last month.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
The other question I had brought up too on the travel, and you can kind of help out here, like Indy RPA conference in Dickinson for 3 nights, it's gonna cost more than $300. Is that the only one you stay overnight at? I mean, if Cody goes to the North Dakota Travel Conference or the Certified Playground Inspector class, Safety Inspector class,
That class is offered here in Bismarck.
Okay.
Certified playground.
okay?
Uh,
That's what I'm just checking, make sure we're high enough on that 300 so that we're not off.
Just from experience, I don't recommend that travel conference. That doesn't pertain to us in any shape, size, or form.
Okay,
Unless we really wanna get into trying to attract people from out of state in big groups. I don't
Like
think-
convention style stuff?
Yeah,
start advertising in Japan.
but it's something that was in there.
Get the airstreamers up
And
there.
I just left it there.
Okay, well, and that's fine if, you know, the ones in Bismarck and the other 2 are memberships up there, one's a conference. And it's in Dickinson, yeah, that's still a cheap hotel, but,
You could definitely raise it, because as you can see in the bottom, you know, at the bottom,
you're minus.
we're still good. We're into good. And, you know, it's like I was talking with Cody, the ND RPA conference, I haven't went the last 3 years. When you get a copy of the agenda, 99.99% of the time, it deals with city parks, recreational, stuff like this. The last one I went to, it was funny, gentlemen, it was in Valley City. And the only thing that on that agenda that I really thought would be worth going to was self-defense. Yeah, so I get up there and here's this Taekwondo dude, he's all dressed in his white, he's got the pads, he's teaching us how to kick. Well, I was the biggest boy there, so he started out with me and then he pulls up another pad and he said, now you can be the dummy over here. Okay, so all these people come through and at the end, here's this little lady. She older than me, she should have retired 10 years ago. she gets up there and she looks at me and just flipping screams, yeah, boom. So I guess, you know, I recommend Cody to go to it for a few years just to get to know people.
Yep.
But as far as coming out of things for campgrounds, not so much.
Okay, so we're under that understanding. It's more of a networking thing for a couple of years to get,
Yes.
that would be what it's for. Okay.
You know, I did learn some things on Fourth Street there, but generally speaking, it's not so much.
Tim, you'll have to explain this dock, kayak launch grant deal. And the capital improvements.
Has everybody got down to the part of the capital improvements in the parks, 217-490-6648? Okay. I looked at, for this year, doing a kayak launcher out at Sweetbriar. Well, didn't work out. I missed the deadline on the grant. The grant writing is kind of different. You gotta do that. You remember I showed you the dates?
Mm-hmm.
You got like a week in early April to write the grant. Well, and that grant gets cycled through, and you'll find out in December if you get the grant, but you can't do nothing until next year. So my bad, I missed out on it, la.
The RTP was very competitive this year. They had $1 million to deal with and $3 million in requests.
Yep.
Because I was on another team that put in a grant, and there was only 3 projects funded, and I guarantee you we wouldn't have got money for that because the project I was on would have ranked higher than the kayak launch. So, is what it is.
Yeah. But,
They really didn't spread it
so
out, did
now,
they?
No.
with that RTP grant, you gotta have a grant that's worth $30,000. Now, that kayak launcher is gonna be 2025, but I figure by the time you do the dirt work and everything else that's required, we can meet that amount of money. And I also have received a donation from a memorial for something at Sweetbriar, and I let that individual know that, you know, this was our intentions. It's not gonna happen this year, and I can't guarantee what the next director is gonna push for through the board. And they were still fine with leaving that 5,000 into that. But if we did go this way, we already have 5,000 in matching funds.
Out of that million, 30% has to go to motorized. So then that takes, a good chunk out of it. So I mean, the money gets whittled down
yeah,
after that.
pretty
So
quick.
by the time all was said and done, there was maybe $400,000 to $500,000 left for the rest of the non-motorized things. So it was slim pickings this year.
It's been getting slimmer and slimmer every year.
Yeah.
grant money, I think, is gonna be harder to come by each and every year. And if they do keep the grants funded like they are now, I got a feeling matching funds are gonna go from 75 and 80 down to 50-50. I think they're gonna require more skin in the game.
So your capital outlay on equipment, you went down about 6,000, 6,800.
Yeah. Okay,
So we must have bought something this year then to keep that high.
We're just getting a new mower probably this week, a zero turn, and we
Okay.
found out the zero turns are $10,000 less than the tractor style that we're using.
So that's why you lowered it a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so we
Cool.
could do another zero turn next year. I priced out a new pickup too, to just kind of rotate down all the pickups. One of them's getting tired and we could probably keep that one going, and if we have that one go down, Tim's current pickup Alex could use, and I could use the weed pickup for a while as one's getting fixed or whatever, so thought another mower would probably be a better budget item for next year, big ticket type deal.
Okay.
Is it still diesel zero turns?
Yes, yep,
Kubota or?
yeah,
Yep. very nice machine.
It is, like incredible. I thought about going with a zero turn last year. Oh man, they're gonna be higher priced. The guys ain't gonna be used to it. It's gonna be a hassle. It's like Cody said, 32,000 for what we're driving to 17,000 for what we got coming.
And you think durability wise they're gonna be okay?
I think they're gonna be better. I really do.
More user-friendly, and I asked, why the price difference, and the tractor styles we use have maybe, I think it's 3 more horsepower, so they have a particulate filter on them, so that's actually more of a downfall for those new tractors, and they're more set up for more attachments. So guys that are buying those, or departments, are putting snow blowers on them and street sweepers.
Which we
Where-
don't.
Which we have 2 very good machines for that. That we if that was a thing the board would like to do, you still have that option.
Mhm.
And one thing about it, we punched in a pickup into the budget, and it threw us over budget by 17-18%. So that's kind of out of the question, really. So going with Cody's plan of getting a good mower this year, new mower this year, a new mower next year, we'll have to butter up to Dawn and the board, and this why we're gonna go over, we need this piece of equipment. The worst case scenario, just say next summer, we trash out 2 pickups. I mean, I love to look at the guys and say they're gonna make another year. Heck, it could blow up tomorrow. That's the way it is. But I'm thinking if that was the case, we could slide my current pickup down 1, and if we take out another one, we're gonna have to suck up to the highway department. And I'm sure the cooperation we have from them in the past, they'd let us use a pickup until we got one up and running.
Well, I would say that
You guys are considerably less, because this little operating budget doesn't take into consideration the decrease in salaries, because nobody else has a decrease in salaries. So, I don't know, a couple ideas, I mean, add the pickup in here, I mean, you looked at state bid, I'm assuming? Yeah.
And we,
How much is one?
For a Chevy 3/4 ton from Bressler and Bismarck, they do this, the state bid, and so it's just a little over 48,000.
Either put it in the budget this year, or just put some extra, I think you guys have, I think the park fund has a pretty good carryover balance, that we're, have some good funds on reserve. Or else, if if you think you could wait another year, we could just budget kind of a more carryover fund, kind of like half the amount or something in here, and then knowing that we're gonna budget it in '27, and that
Sure.
extra, build up a little more carryover funds. But let me look to see what the cash balance that we have in there, that I'm predicting or forecasting we have at the end of the year here.
I got a bid on a Ford too, but the idea around here doesn't do the state.
Yeah, you can't get much from the
fleet.
Bucks United.
So
State
that
rates
would
be
be
like,
was a
oh, state rate.
bare bones pickup for.
Dawn, do we use state rate when we get rooms?
60,000.
Is that what you're figuring?
They should, I mean, most conferences usually have a state rate
And
when it's
we are,
for.
we can abide by that with us. As a
I mean,
county.
there's some times where,
They don't give it to you.
yeah. My
I'm
computer's
just looking
not-
at that hotel conference one. I mean, if you're using state rate, yeah, you'll get by on $100 if they give it to you, depending on the hotel. But if we're only talking, you gotta get a $140 room, you're only talking about $100 difference, so that, we can shuffle that around in the budget. I don't need you staying in a Roach motel either.
Or in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in Dickinson.
I'll take my own camper out there.
All the choice hotels offer state rates. That's what I use.
They do, yeah. I have to give them a state credit card when I go though, or they won't. They want that state guarantee that it's state.
So I'm estimating the cash balance at the end of this year to be 479,000 in the park fund. So there is a lot of, so, I don't know, my suggestion, and I'll tell this board and I'll tell a commission if they ask, but I mean, even if you put that whole pickup in here, you're still gonna be under what you were in total last year, so I would say just put it in here. Pickups aren't gonna get it cheaper.
No, you wait another year, you might have to pay another $5,000-6,000 for it.
Yeah. So I have one question for Dawn with that. What would you say we still budgeted for another $17,000 more next year and a new pickup next year? My logic behind that is, with the way things are working between the weeds and the parks, like yesterday, Kevin pointed it out. We had the weed guys down helping the parks guys, and Grainer got done in less than a day. And normally that'd have been a 2-day ordeal for sure. So we want to keep enough mowers on hand, so if this happens, we can just load mowers up at Sweet Briar.
Well, I'd say leave the more in
Yeah, I
this
don't-
for 26 and
yeah.
just add a pickup.
Yeah, just add a pickup to this budget.
Mhm.
You heard it, Cody. We're done. I'm a witness.
Upon recommendation of the auditor.
Yeah.
No, and you still keep the mower on next year, and if it works out, something happens with some pickups, we might have to throw that in there too, but like you said, we're,
Because, I mean, your carryover is more than what your total budget
Yeah.
is. So, I mean,
if we need to buy a pickup,
I'd say use some of that carryover.
no. So I'd put it in there.
What we want to do is get the equipment down to the point where we're having in trouble.
Well, you put in a $6,000-7,000 tranny or a motor, and then all of a sudden that could have been used on a pickup. So you're gonna add 48,000 to the outlay equipment. Cody, is that what it is? That's what you said.
I didn't even grab the pickup bid, it was 48 something.
Roughly,
I
so
just round up to
just say
50 maybe.
yeah, maybe call it 50 and just be, and we'll get one.
And that was, their state pricing isn't out yet, so he based that off of 2025 prices plus a certain percentage, so that was his best guess on what a state fleet pickup would cost next year.
So that increases your budget by 23,140. By my math. No, it would be 70, it's more than that. We're gonna increase this to 70. This. $43. Yep. That's the difference. I had the little numbers right, I had the big one or something.
You're in the ballpark.
But I'm gonna let somebody else make the motion to approve this. You know, you can second. Leave it. If you're sitting there waiting. Move on.
Was getting close.
Andy says that to me all the time. Somebody will make a motion, everybody else will do it, and he'll just say, what the hell? I'm good with that.
Commissioners, any questions, feedback, urges to motion to approve?
You got your computer, you punch that extra 50,000 into there, and then what percentage do we?
I can do that.
So the only change to this would be the pick on the capital outlay.
Oh, I don't have this completed one though. Did you email it? You didn't email it to me? No.
I can check those.
Okay,
As long as you're good with it, we're good to go.
okay.
I can throw a motion out there to approve this budget with the addition on the capital outlay of a pickup for 50 grand.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to approve the proposed budget for 2026. Is there any further discussion?
Who seconded it?
I did. Yeah, it would be proper.
Okay, hearing and seeing none, Don, would you please call roll?
Geiger, Geiger was him.
Still Geiger? Hey.
I said it and then it didn't sound right, I'm like, that's what I've written, but Bame,
Yes.
Kist,
Yes.
Himmelschbach,
Yes.
Wedge.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Question
Okay,
yourself.
next item on the agenda is Ensel Park.
There was, Tim, you might have to help me with this one.
Let me take this one.
Yeah.
Okay, as you all know, we're working over Valerie Ansel Memorial Park with grant funding, right? And Donnie Ansel has made a substantial investment up in that park. He's put in some signs, he's put in some big decorative rocks, and now he's planning on putting in a piece of playground equipment. Well, he's gonna put that playground equipment in on his own dime, He's gonna have it professionally installed on his own dime. He's putting in the, I call it the border around the fall zone on his own dime. And he has a request for the parks to put in the fall zone material. I wanna say it's gonna be close to $3,000, $3.5 grand for that material. But it's gonna take 2 semi-loads. Donnie only needs a load and a half. And we are out, so we're gonna need some anyhow. And, I know Donnie has talked to a couple commissioners, and they're kinda thinking we should think about this. Okay, my thought on it is, if you do this, you're gonna set precedents. If any of these other parks wants to put in a playground, you're gonna set precedents on spending money. Well, I think the precedence needs to be set that if you, as a group of people, want to make a big bite into the game, you know, they got a lot of, Donnie's gonna have a lot of skin in that game, that at that point, then the parks would come in and do like the fall zone or whatever. But I don't think you wanna set it up so that we're footing the bill for the whole works, or that's gonna be a precedence that's gonna be awful hard to keep up. And Nate, you know what the playground equipment
Yeah.
stuff is. It's crazy.
It'll run around $20,000 per play zone,
Yeah.
is what they call them. So a slide or a swing or another contact, each one is about $20,000 till you get everything, and that's just the equipment then put together. So, yeah, you look at a 5-station play set and it's $100,000. It's just, boom. I've been trying to do one at Stargazer Park for 5 years. Can't get any traction.
So-
Belly up.
Hmm?
Belly up, just like inside.
Not my park, it's the city.
So what do you guys really think of that?
I think if we're gonna set some sort of precedent, we keep it just to the material, because I think his is gonna be fairly good size. If you're looking at about 3,000, 3,500, you're gonna have very few parks that are ever gonna be bigger, a whole lot bigger than that out in the county. I mean, that's about as big as it'll get. But that would be about the only thing I'd wanna set a precedent for spending money on, is that. If they wanna put the equipment in, the edging, that kind of stuff, that's where your big expense is coming
Yep.
from. That would just be a suggestion that I have.
I like that one.
Tim, being this is an unbudgeted item, where do we pull these funds from? Or would we?
I would pull-
Capital improvements.
Excuse me, I'd pull it out of park maintenance. Like I said before, we're gonna have to order some anyhow. And it's, in my opinion, it'd be senseless to order what we need. You know, instead of getting a half a semi-load, the transportation's gonna be the same. You might as well fill the darn thing up and, you know, and go from there. You know, so just to go one more semi-load, we can handle that out of park maintenance.
Okay.
Because we have to replenish the chits once in a while in the established playgrounds already.
Right.
And right now, we're out. so
Can you get a bulk rate? I mean, you order 2 semis, they give you a little bit of a discount?
Not much.
Not much. Okay.
Not much.
Well, sometimes that happens in
The-
that.
The whole deal is in the transportation. That's
Yeah.
where the expense comes. And they'd be coming out of Fargo.
Do you, just a question, Tim, do you typically get wood chips delivered and stockpile them somewhere and then hauled to the parks, or directly delivered to the parks?
We, in the past, we've dumped 3/4 of a load at Grainer and half a load, a quarter of a load up at Harmon. And then we just spread them out between the parks there. Now this time, if you guys allow it, I would just take and dump both loads at Harmon, at Ensel's, and then take half of what's left over up to Harmon and the other half down to Grainer. And we use our own dump trailer for doing that.
What's Ansel's timing as far as installation of this?
The equipment should be in towards the middle, my understanding, the middle of July. And he's got people lined up to come and help him at the end of July, set it up.
Yeah, last time I talked to him, he was hoping the first part of August he'd have pretty much set together, and that's what his hope is. Barring heavy rains and high winds.
We never have.
So,
Commissioners, thoughts?
Sounds like it's already in motion, so.
I'll make the motion that we would supply the Valerie Ansel Memorial Park with the fall material.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to supply the fall material for the Valerie Ansel Memorial Park. Is there any further discussion?
Okay, do you want to have a policy made on that?
No, I don't think we need to. It's just, it's gonna take a lot for somebody else to put a park together. It is. And when that happens, we can fall back on this in a heartbeat and say, hey, we supplied the fall material for one other one, we can do the same for you. But that's where we work off of. If you start seeing 4 or 5 parks building, then we might want to make a policy, but I don't see that happening, not at the cost they are.
I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, basically what you're doing is you're buying 2 truckloads for Morton County and donating 1.5 truckload to the Ensel Park.
Yeah, yep.
So
Yeah,
you would need a policy for that.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to approve it. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Did you second that?
Motion carries.
Okay,
Jesse did.
the other part of this one is there's a commissioner that would like to see 1, maybe 2 grills placed in this park. And I'm against that. We have grills up at Harmon and garbage can. The days that people carry charcoal and stuff to light a grill, they're gone. Now we all got propane grills, portable grills, all that sort of thing, so.
Yeah.
That's your call, but at the very least, I would hope you guys would decide to wait till we get a request for it. I mean, they're not cheap, and in my opinion, they're ugly, and they're in the way. If you're gonna put them where you can use them, they're in the way.
Yep.
Kevin, we got one down at shelter number 2. When was the last time you seen that used?
Never.
Time to pull it out.
And to be truthful with that one at number 2, if it wouldn't have such a big chunk of concrete on the bottom of it, I'd have ripped it out 15 years ago. When
Cost enough to
when
backfill,
the
it's not
ADA
worth
come
it.
around and they stated that you had to make so many picnic tables handicapped accessible, we just took and went from a 10-foot board to a 12-foot board on the top, and now it's sticking out 2 feet. It makes ADA accessible right now. 99% of those are used for grills, that 2 foot that sticks out.
a dead horse, move on.
Yeah, I would say if we happen to start getting multiple requests for it, I'm not against it, but in the absence of that, I think we can probably wait on it.
That's that.
Okay, I'm not sure what this next agenda item is, something about retirement.
Oh, you. No, we got, yeah, Yeah, that's
We
me,
can
boy.
do that.
you all got a copy of my letter?
Yeah, they got a signed one even.
What's that?
They even got a signed one.
Cool.
I think
Cool.
given his status, that's now autographed.
Yeah. No, it's been a good ride. Done. Like it says in the bottom. Got it done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
I still have to put up with him for 12 more days.
It's gonna be rough.
So we don't know what we're gonna do in our office if we don't have Tim to pick on and no one to pick on us. So we're hoping Cody comes down and we can make him our pick on guy.
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do when you need technology.
I don't know. Techno Tim is not around.
Techno.
Well, I would like to say, at least on behalf of myself, I have thoroughly enjoyed and appreciated your help since we started the park board. And, working on Harmon and Grainer and all the other properties we have, I mean, it's been, honestly, I think as smooth of a ride as you could ever have, just based on not having to wonder if something's gonna get done or, fielding complaints about things not getting done. I mean, that has just simply not been an issue, and I thoroughly appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you. A lot of fun. But all good things gotta come to an end.
Yeah,
Cody's gonna do excellent, I'm sure of it.
yeah, that's the one thing I'm happy about, is at least we're replacing him with somebody who I don't think is gonna let anything slip.
And we've been last, 2 or 3 weeks, been working on it off together on all this stuff. He's got a grasp. We only have one item that we haven't got to yet, and that's just because of weather and stuff. I've told Cody, and I'll tell all you guys, any issues you have, I'd gladly give you a hand. I'd glad to give you a little bit of expertise that I got. And I was telling Cody, I think, man, I don't know how many guys just. I told Cody the hardest part about, getting things through is him talking to me, so I understand what the issue is, but I understand what the problem is. I don't see any problems coming up. And now that I see HR behind me, he's gonna rest a lot easier.
And I want to thank you too, because coming on 5 years ago, I milk cows for a living. I didn't go to parks and understand a whole lot more, and you made that a lot easier, so appreciate it.
Yeah, and I really have to thank you, Tim, for all the training we've been doing, running around, and I guess the one thing we have left to do is get on Tim's computer, and so he shows me where all of his stuff is at.
That's the technical part. Yeah.
Well, with all that being said, one thing I somewhat regret having to request, is there a motion to accept Tim's letter that I would rather refer to as a letter of retirement than resignation?
It is.
But,
It is retirement.
yep. Well, on the agenda, or I guess it does say retirement. See, I'm so blurry now, I can't even talk straight. I tell you, okay.
So if we don't make a motion, he has to stay?
Did you read the bottom of the letter? stick a fork in it, I'm done.
I saw it.
With that said, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Tim's letter of retirement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept Tim's letter of retirement. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, last item on the agenda, park updates. Cody?
I don't know how much I have for you. Post-storm, Tim and I have been running around to all the parks and taking pictures of whatever damage there is, because the governor declared that storm as a statewide storm relief, what's it called? Emergency declaration for damages. So we documented all that. Part of my crew went down and helped clean up Grainer Park, so they got that done in just several hours. We went down and we had 4 mowers going down a couple weeks ago at Grainer, and found out we could mow that whole park in about 4 hours with 4 mowers going.
And on the 4 mowers, we had one rookie.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I didn't mean it in a negative way, and one old guy. Well, if we'd have had 4 guys that have done this all summer long, 3 hours max.
Yeah, can you think of anything else, Tim, to park updates? Missing? Sorry, I didn't write anything up.
Yeah, that's my bad also. We've been pretty hip on this going around through the storms. Storm damage really was not what I was expecting to see. I didn't see any shelter damage. I didn't see any picnic table damage. A few trees down, quite a few trees down. Grainer Park got hit the hardest by the trees. Down at Fish Creek, the floating pier got twisted. That
Yeah.
damage to the pier itself just to move back.
As you can see in those 2 pictures.
And then,
One camper got flipped up at Harmon Lake, and I went up there that night as the storm was winding down and made sure that there was nobody in it, and I think everyone at that park that night utilized the storm shelter, so that was good. Yeah, for as bad of a storm as it was, fared it pretty well.
The Grainer Park storm shelter got used too. It was full.
Oh, awesome.
that's pretty much covered the updates of the revenue.
Oh,
Just go with the top 2 lines.
1 and 2. This might be the new deal still.
So, we actually got use down at the Fort Rice Recreation Area. For the month, we're at $180, and for the season, we're at $180. Fort Rice Campground, for the month, we had 4,419, and we're up to 2,750. Most of those are month at a time. Grainer Park for the month, 19,370. For the season, 39,825. Harmon Lake, 4,989 for the month. For the season, 12,566. And, you know, just a quick look down at the numbers. Grainer Park, we're right in there. Got one mistake in the year 2021, we weren't at 489,202, sorry.
It's a lot of campers.
Same way as Harmon Lake, I
That's
think
why our
we're
budget's-
we're right in the middle.
Okay, any questions for Cody and/or Tim?
Just to let you guys know, I did request these guys, check their schedules. We have, Country Fest pulling into the fairgrounds on Friday. And I knew they'd been busy, but I asked if they were gonna get out there to mow those grounds. We've kinda taken a use of them for a while, and said they'll see what they can do, but just so you know, that's one of the things they got on their schedule here in the next couple days.
Okay, nothing else for the good of the order. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll stand adjourned.